Hi, boys and girls. This is fractions on a number line, and this is the kind of first lesson. I'm going to call this lesson 1 of fractions on a number line. Our learning target for this one is to represent fractions on a number line. Let me see, I misspelled that one. It's to represent fractions on a number line. Okay, so remember, if this is one whole shape, we'll say this is the rectangle right here. I'll use my trusty blue marker right now. That's the whole rectangle. Okay? Now, let's say that this whole rectangle is divided into equal parts, right? So 3 equal parts. Okay. And our unit fraction is what we call one of the parts. So the unit fraction is 1/3. Which means one of the parts. Okay, so this is 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. The unit fraction is one of the parts. Okay, so when we have a number line, we start with 0. And let's say 1, 2, and then it's just going to continue, dot, dot. We'll continue that way. Now, students, we should have the arrow that way. Now, when we have a number line, there's an equal space, like this is one whole number. This is one whole number. Okay, so whole numbers are counting numbers. I'm going to put this right here. Whole numbers. Those are the numbers we use for counting. Are what we have been using. To count with. Okay? They're just the numbers we've been using to count with. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what's on the number line. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is putting fractions on the number line. Okay, so we have been talking about what fractions are and what fractions do. They count parts of a number. But now we're going to have a number line like that, starting with 0. 1, 2, right? But now we're going to count all the parts of that number because we're going to divide it into equal parts. Okay? Now, students, number lines can help us to understand fractions. Get a fresh page. They can help us to count. They can help us to add and subtract too. Number lines can help us to understand fractions. Now, Mr. Staplek, that's quite a claim. because I don't even know how you're going to use this yet, right? Okay, so let me help you with that. Let's say zero, 1, 2. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to give you, I found a nice piece of paper. It looks like a piece of chocolate. This is equal to 1/8 because there are 8 parts, right? Okay. All right. So let's say a student wants a piece of chocolate, and I say, okay, well, here you go. That's 1/8 of a piece of chocolate. And then another student comes and says, oh, here's another piece of chocolate. 1/8, another piece of chocolate. Oh, Mr. S, you're giving away so much chocolate. 1/8, another piece of chocolate. 1/8, another piece of chocolate. Okay, students, I'm running out. All right, I'm running out. Okay. So, here's my chocolate bar, and I have broken this thing up. I have given it to all of the students, well, 8 of the students, right? Now, if I'm dividing this guy up into eighths, so this is equal to 1 chocolate bar, okay? So, I've given my 1/8, right? Hey, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8. Okay. 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8. You're giving it all away. 7/8. Uh-oh. Now, when I get to 8/8, guess what? Then that is equal to 1 whole chocolate bar. That is equal to 1 whole chocolate bar. But you know what? I still have more students, right? I still have more students. So I might have to open up another chocolate bar. Okay? I might have to open up another chocolate bar. That means I'm going to divide that one also into eighths. Did I do that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yep, I did. That means this one here nine eighths. That seems kind of crazy, right? But if each chocolate bar is divided into eighths, then I'm going to end up with even more. Then another student wants a chocolate bar, right? Now I am up to 10/8. Okay. Then I go to 11/8. Okay. Twelve eighths. 13/8, 14/8, 15/8, 16/8. Okay, So when I get up to 16/8, look at what happens. Suddenly, that's 2 chocolate bars. Okay? So there I go. That is 1 bar. That's 1 bar of chocolate. This is 2 bars of chocolate. Okay? So 8/8, that's 1 bar of chocolate. When I get to 16/8 or 16 pieces of chocolate, I need 2 chocolate bars. Okay? That's a lot of chocolate, boys and girls. So, if you want to, if you could, take notes. Okay? Because I'm making a number line. We can go on with the bars of chocolate, but we're making a number line using shapes. Okay? Now, this is our 0. And this is 1 whole. Okay? That's the whole shape, right? That's why we're calling this a whole number. Let's continue. Oh, that wasn't very straight. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh, my lines are so wobbly. 1 whole. Put 1 hole here. Oh, it's not pretty at all. Uh-oh. Sorry, guys. Now, if I've got 1 hole, right, what number am I going to put here? Right? 0. I'm just counting the hole. That's 1. Okay. Got another hole. That's 2. I got another hole. That's 3. Right? That is our normal number line. That's what we always have as our number line. But when we're talking about fractions on a number line, we got 1, 2, 3. Sorry. Let's just follow the blue lines. They're straighter than mine. Okay. So we got a hole here. And we're going to cut each of these holes into 4. Now, students, we are cutting all of these equal size shapes into equal parts. Okay? All of these equal size shapes into equal parts. I'm going to just divide it really quickly with my marker. Okay. These are the holes that we're using. So that's 1 hole, 2 holes, 3 holes. And yeah, we're kind of pretending that they're all equal. And while we're at it, let's pretend that my lines are straight. Okay? So, fractions are numbers that name parts of a whole. Okay? So we could make a fraction for this whole. Okay? You can show fractions on the number line just like we can show whole numbers on the number line. Okay? Alright? So just like we can show whole numbers on the number line, we can show fractions on the number line. Okay? So let's label each part of these, okay, with the unit fraction. All right. So unit fraction is, because each part is, or each whole is divided into 4 equal parts, each unit fraction is 1/4. Okay, so I'm going to write this here, unit fraction (1/4). Okay, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. Okay, because each of these, this is just one part of a whole number that's been divided into fourths. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. Okay? All right, so the unit fraction is 1/4. Now, whole numbers, number lines can show fractions as well as whole numbers because it can show the parts of each whole number. All we have to do is kind of add the tick marks on the number line that represent each part of the whole number. Okay, we're just kind of dividing it further. All right, and of course, boys and girls, you can see that on a ruler. Let's check out inches first, right? So this is 1 inch, and it is divided into 10 parts. 2 inches also divided into 10 parts. 3 inches divided into 10 parts. Okay? Same with centimeters. Each centimeter is divided into 10 parts. That's what these little lines are for. Okay? There's a slightly longer line in the middle just to show where the 5 is. Okay? So rulers are awesome number lines that we always have with us, or we should always have with us. Okay? So we can count fractions on a number line just like we can count whole numbers. Okay? So let's fill in right here. Okay? So this here, that is 1/4. Okay? Then when we go again, right here, this is 2/4. Okay? 3/4. Okay? And then this one here, hey, that is 4/4. All right. Now we're counting the fourths on this number line. Let's continue. How many fourths is this? Well, if these are going to be divided into fourths, right? One-fourth, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. If I add another one, well, now 1/4. Let's say that that's the shape we're doing. It's just a square. Then we add another one that's part of a different square, right? That's part of our second square. Also 1/4. It's 1/4 of our next shape. It's not the same shape. I mean, they are both squares, but that's a different one. Okay? 1/4. I'm going to keep counting. My numerator is going to keep changing, but my denominator is not going to change. Okay? Now I've got 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4. Okay? And we can continue. 9/4, 10/4, 11/4, and finally 12/4.